What's going on? This is Kobe with Sample Source back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to tell you what is the best business model to sell beats in 2025 that's going to allow you to get to a full-time income, make at least $1,000 per week. So if you stick with me to the end of this video, I promise it's going to help you to pick the right business model and be able to sell beats and elevate your music business game. So if you can't pay attention for 10 minutes, then go watch a Mr. Beast video. If not, then stick with me and I promise you're going to learn the best business model to go with in 2025. Before we hop into the video, if you want something entirely for free, that's going to be the 4 best offers that I make with my own students that help them to make thousands of dollars per month and sell their beats for $1,000 a piece. Go over to Instagram and DM me the word offer and I'll send you over the course for free. It's at Kobe Sample Source. So go over to at Kobe Sample Source, DM me the word offer and I'll send over the course entirely for free. Now let's hop back into the video. I had a friendly conversation with one of my subscribers and it was a great conversation that we had. We just clashed a little bit in terms of business models. So I'll read everything he said and then I'll show you my response on what I think is the best business model. I said that I sell beats more on the expensive side. Here's his response. Yeah, I'm going to take a very simple business model to this. The market is oversaturated. To compete, you need to be able to buy up market share and you do that by underbidding your competitor. And what makes you better is a better quality at a better price. That's going to drive the sales and make the leases cheap. So keep a lower price, maybe $100 for exclusives and even lower for the leases. If you're making 30 beats a month, you should have no problem getting to 3K. He also said artists drop very often, once a week, twice a month, and they're going to purchase a lot of beats from you. They mainly have an issue with exclusive prices, and because of that, they can't recoup on most of their projects. Later on, he says most artists are opting to purchase loops and create their own due to high pricing. Just because a beat is double in price doesn't mean it's twice as good. And then lastly, he was just saying that AI is going to change a lot in the future and that artists are going to be doing a lot of the beats themselves because of technology. So for me to be able to respond, you have to understand what is the difference between low ticket and high ticket. Low ticket's anything under $500. High ticket's anything above that. So for example, like I'm in the middle of selling 6 songs for $9,000. So that is more on the high ticket side versus if you're selling low ticket, that's more like your $30 beat leases, $250 custom and exclusive beats, that type of thing. You need a big audience to sell low ticket effectively. So if you have 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube or a big following and fan base that you can influence on TikTok or Instagram or X, then you can definitely sell low ticket, especially with big email lists as well. Now, this takes years to build, lots of effort to build that up because you're trying to influence the masses. And really with high ticket, all you need to do is get them onto a call to get them to buy, and you don't really need a large fan base. So you can go and sell thousands of dollars worth with more of like a few hundred followers instead of a few thousand or a few 10,000 followers. And then after I explain this question, I'll be able to give my response to him. So basically, what's the difference between a commodity and a premium value offer? The difference is your product is a commodity when the market sets the price. So if you sell a YouTube type beat, you're probably selling for $30, $50, or $100, and then your exclusives are probably around like $350, $500, $250, whatever you want. Customers buy commodities because the price is low and it's a good deal. So if you go to a place like Walmart, there's nothing wrong with that, but most people go in there because it's low price versus Whole Foods is going to be somewhere where people go because it's high price, and they're going because they think a good deal at Whole Foods is just getting good stuff versus Walmart, you get a good deal if it's cheap. So your product is premium value when you can set the price to whatever you desire. So for me, really it's a good price for me. It's like $1,000 or more. So that's what I charge, but you can charge whatever you think is a good price. Customers buy premium because it solves a problem. So for me, like custom beats solve a lot of my customers' problems, and they buy because the price is high. Like when they see like, oh, he's Grammy nominated or platinum selling, it's like, that's cool, but that's not the main reason they're buying. They're buying because I solve a problem for them. I had tons of placements before and wasn't really getting that many sales because I didn't know how to make an offer. So you should probably DM me offer on Instagram at Kobe Sample Source so I can send you over the 4 highest converting offers I've ever found. Okay, so back to the video. To answer his price, he's saying, hey, I'm just gonna lower my price and cut you out of the market. So is that really true? Like if he just lowers his price to $100, I sell my beats for $1,500 and $1,000. And I did go a little bit lower for one artist at $800, but it's like if he goes and sells it for $100, is that going to take me out of the market? So this can, But there's just simply way too many customers and way too many audiences. Like if you look across the internet at one bigger producer, like I don't know, Kato on the track, and go and look at his followers, he's got hundreds of thousands of followers. And even if 150,000 are just artists, that's another 100,000 that are producers. And each of those producers has a separate audience. And yeah, there's some overlap, but overlap is simply not going to happen at that kind of scale because there's millions of producers and millions of artists. So it's just kind of unrealistic to think that, because like if you're running flash deals, discounts, cutting your prices constantly, then yeah, your customers might buy, and they might even buy more frequency than they buy with me, but they're going to be the worst kind of customers. They don't have any loyalty because your brand's built on price. So you're just cheapifying your long-term brand. So with me, they're not buying because the price is low. They're buying because the price is high. So if I were to charge $300, they wouldn't think that it's that good. And then they might just go with somebody else who charges $300. But the thing is like if they go with somebody who charges $300, he has to get 5 sales to equal mine at one sale at $1,500. So I prefer working with premium artists, and then all of the other ones that want deals can go to the other person, but then they're still only going to buy once. So you get $300, they never come back. And with me, they're going to spend $1,500 and they're going to come back because of the brand. There's no competition in premium value, so your personal brand's your distinguisher. There's not a price you can put on a human being, which makes your personal brand valuable. So a lot of people think that they're just buying dependent on price, and they're just going to be competing with all these other producers. But charge what you want because you have a personal brand. Put your face out there. You can charge whatever you want, and they're going to respect that. Versus if you just go with a faceless brand like on YouTube, it's just a race to the bottom. Everyone's lowering their prices. I see beats for 99 cents now. I mean, you can go up infinitely in price, but you can only go down to 0. So you might as well just go up in price, and then if they don't want to buy it at that price, you can come down to something that's feasible for them. But if you start at the lowest price you're willing to take and they try to get a deal, then you lose that deal. Then you lose in that situation every time. Okay? So he's saying it's easy to get 30 artists to pay $100. Is that true? I don't think it's that true. In my experience, like getting 30 artists to buy is really difficult. And what's the kind of the easiest way to get to 3K a month, honestly? I think it's easier to charge $1,000 and just sell to 3 artists. I know that because I did it, and it took me like maybe 10 hours out of the month to line up that amount of sales. Like it wasn't that hard because I didn't need very many people to say yes. But if you're trying to get 30 people to agree to pay you, they may say like, hey, I need to think about it. I'll get you next Friday, that type of stuff. And while with me, it's like, I just need 3 to say yes. So if I'm having conversations with 3 artists versus 30, it's going to be a lot easier to sell to the 3 because I can serve them at a high level. 30 artists, it's going to be a lot harder. So you also got to keep in mind, like, if I sell for $1,000, they don't have to pay me $1,000 up front. They can just pay me like $250 and we can do a payment plan. It's going to just get their card on file and it's going to come out of their account every month, every 30 days. And that way you have revenue. So revenue is what your total deal size is. So like in this case, I'm selling a $6,000 deal. I may only get $1,000 up front and then just do $1,000 a month for 6 months. So if I do that, then basically somebody else who's like, hey, I'll just take $1,000 for the 6 songs. You get $1,000 one time and then that's it. That's what you collected in cash. I get $1,000 in cash and then I get $1,000 in revenue every single month for the next 6 months. So that's why it's a lot easier to get to 3K a month if you just charge a lot and get them onto payment plans. Hopefully that makes sense. So if an artist buys your beats once, will they come back when they need more? So he's saying like artists are going to release a bunch of songs. They're going to release weekly or a couple of months. So they're going to need a ton of songs. So that equals a bunch of beat sales. But what I'm here to say is that just because an artist buys your beats once does not mean they're going to come back. Like there's no guarantee they're actually going to work with you in the future at all. I've seen a ton of artists that go and buy exclusives from me and you think that they're going to be on your roster and they're going to come back and then they don't. And so if you're trying to get them to come back, the best thing you can do is charge a lot of money. So if you charge $1,000, then what you do is just give them a gift. And I'll go over that in a second. But basically, like when artists are shopping for beats, it's like an ice cream shop. You might be mint chocolate chip. They might be looking for vanilla. And you're not special if you don't have a personal brand. So it's like, let's say they're looking for chocolate and you have no personal brand, and then they're just scrolling through YouTube. Nobody has a personal brand on YouTube. So they're just going through a bunch of vanilla flavors. So if you have a personal brand on Instagram, then you're going to be that chocolate flavor that sticks out to them and allows them to pick you because you have something that distinguishes you. Otherwise, they're just going to go to the next producer. Like, I promise you that's going to happen. So basically, the way that I get them to come back is with a gift. So I just give them a gift, a physical gift. It could be a gift card, coffee mug. It could be your own personal merch, like a hoodie is what I used to send out personally. So I give them a hoodie, mail it out to them, and then I give them a lifetime discount. So if you give them a lifetime discount for like 20%, 25%, 33%, then you say like, hey, whenever you do come back, I just want to say thanks. I appreciate it. So here's a gift. And then you get a lifetime discount. And a lot of the artists I worked with would come back and buy. If not later on in the year, they would buy like the next month. So I had an artist spend $1,500 with me in a month and a half. And then I had 3 artists spend multiple thousands of dollars working with me over the course of a year. So about every quarter, they would come back and buy. And that way I was earning thousands of dollars from just a few artists every year. So I didn't have to have a ton of clientele coming in. Okay. So with that in mind, he's saying most artists don't recoup on their investment. So that is true. Most artists don't recoup. 9 out of 10 times, if not 10 out of 10 times, they don't recoup on their investment. So we have to think though, like, even with that being said, like, is recouping their main focus? And honestly, it's just not. Like 85% of the songs on Spotify are generating almost nothing, if not $0. And so you can go and fact check me on this, but essentially, even if you give them the beat for free, like, there's no guarantee they're going to roll it out. They're going to have a marketing plan. They're going to try to recoup. So if you go and charge a cheap price, that like $30, if their song is making 0, that means you get $30, and it doesn't matter if you get 100% of the master, 100% of the publishing, the songwriting share, mechanicals. It doesn't matter. Like, you're going to receive $0 as an ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC check at the end of the quarter or the end of that 9-month period, because they're not generating money. So is it the best business model to base it around the artist recouping their investment? And I just don't think it is, because most of them aren't recouping. So getting a higher upfront amount of money for making good music should be your focus. Okay. All right. Next, won't artists just make their own beats if it's expensive? This is just not true. Like, most artists are not tech savvy about learning the skill. Like, they might say they want to learn beats. They start trying to learn that skill, and then it feels like they're pushing a rock up the hill. Like, it's not something they really want to do. They want to be artists. So, and most artists who do take up production, they just suck at it. Like, I'm just being honest. They never really become proficient or professional at beat making. That's just true. And if they do become good at beat making and being an artist, being a jack of all trades can just take away from them becoming a better artist. So sometimes it's just better for them not to learn the skill and just be an artist. And most artists just don't want to learn beat making. They're just not going to do that. So you charging a lot is not going to scare them away from buying. Okay, one of the last ones I'll go over. Don't I have to have better beats before I charge more? This isn't true either. Like, in a premium value market, you choose whatever you want. I have producers I've worked with, they have 260 followers. They charge $1,500 for a package. They've charged $500 a couple of times, and artists set them up on that too. So you can charge a lot of money even if you don't have a lot of followers, a lot of credits. It just doesn't matter. I help somebody with 20 followers make $1,000 a month. Like, it just really doesn't matter that much. If you have a personal brand and you have above average beats, you do not need a large audience to charge a lot. So if you have at least 200 followers, that's the sweet spot for starting to get premium value sales. Okay. So you, like this picture illustrates, like, you don't have to be broke, but a lot of us just choose to because of our mentality is just backwards. Artists will pay for beats. All right. Last question. Number 9, will AI lower the barrier to entry and force us to lower prices? So what he was saying is that with AI, it's going to make it easier for artists to make beats. Is that true? 100%. Like, you saw like the song BBL Drizzy and a lot of other AI songs, like, they're getting really good. Now, just keep in mind, some artists absolutely hate the thought of a computer just making the art. Like, it's just not going to be something that a lot of artists want. Artists are about being organic, being creative. So if you allow a machine to make half of the song, which is the musical side, the beat part, then is that really the most creative thing? It's really not. Like going and typing in a beat and then having it spit it out is not that creative at all. You're letting the machine do all of the work, not just some of the work. It's not an aid to your creativity, it's literally creating it. And so some artists are always going to crave human connection and things that are made from scratch organically. That's why artists buy custom beats. It's because they don't want to go scrolling through YouTube for 10 hours trying to find the perfect beat. That's like one of the biggest pain points I hear. And if they're tired of hearing generic beats, AI is going to level the playing field, right? So more producers are going to start spamming YouTube with their below average trash beats. And what is that going to do? It makes the problem bigger. And then my offer doesn't get worse, it gets better. So that makes me more valuable and I just make more money. And everybody who's going to jump into the market with AI beats is going to lower the playing field and destroy the price even further. They're going to start selling dollar beats, dollar exclusives, right? That's going to make what I do a lot better because artists who hate that, which is like 5% of the market, are going to turn away from YouTube and then going to turn to people like me and start paying me thousands. Okay? All right, so with that being said, what if there's a better way to sell beats than low ticket? Like, there really is. I just call it the rapid sales system. This is the best way I personally found to sell beats for $1,000 or more and make $1,000 every single week without YouTube, without BeatStars, without being a clown on social media, without followers. Okay? So really there's only 4 skills to learn to do this. So if you want to sell high ticket, all you have to do is learn how to prospect, qualify, nurture, and convert. It's literally it. So let me spell this out. Like once you've mastered these 4 skills, you'll be making minimum $500 a week from beats. It's not easy, but it's super simple. And if you compare it to like a hard manual labor job or like working corporate or anything managerial, this is super easy. Like I work about 20 hours a week and make 5 figures. So how do my students sell beats for $400 to $1,500 a piece? I say $400 because one of my students, he just made $1,400 this week from selling a $400 offer. So he got 3 sales this week, and then he had somebody come back and buy for half the price, $200, right? So that way, he's getting some return business, and he's getting a lot of new business. So 3 beat sales versus 30, and that guy who's like, hey, I'm going to make $3,000 a month from 30 sales. Well, he got half of that with 3 sales. Okay? So all we do is we go to Spotify, find smaller artists, then we go and DM them on Instagram and DM them back and forth to qualify them about 2 to maybe 6 times. And then you ask them to get onto a call. So we just do an Instagram audio call so you don't have to exchange numbers and lock them in and have a bunch of contacts in your phone. You're just going to go and hop on a call with them for about 20 to 45 minutes and just talk to them, get them to know, like, and trust you enough. And then once they do, you're like, hey, I'd love to work with you. I charge for beats. Would you like to preview some? And we could go through Zoom so I could share my screen, share my audio, go through my beat store and see if you like any of my beats. And if you do, like, you can pay for some, but if you don't, then that's fine. They say, yeah, I'll do that. So you go and send them an application form. So it's Calendly, it's free. And then you just put some required questions on it that say like, hey, do you have a budget for beats? And can you at least put down a deposit at the end of the call if everything sounds good? If they say yes to both, you take the Zoom call. And at the end, 1 out of 3 times, they're going to pay you a bunch of money. Okay? So here's the key. It's like if you DM, these are the maximum numbers to make the minimum amount. So trust me, like Jeremy, who's making $1,400 in a week, he only DMs about 10 artists a day. And that's not even every day, and he's still able to make quite a bit of money. So if you DM 30 artists every single day, I'm trying to make it impossible for you not to hit 3K. Then you're just going to generate 30 of these first Instagram audio calls, about 1 a day. So about 30 minutes a day to talk to some artists that you already want to work with. Keep that in mind. You already want to work with these artists. So they're serious artists. And then 1 out of 3 of those goes into a sales call. So if you're converting 33% of 10 calls into sales, so a third of a third, and you charge $1,000, you get 3 sales, you earn $3,000 a month. Okay, so it's pretty simple math. Like once you get those numbers right, it's going to work. So basically, this strategy that I use The rapid sales system, what it does for you, it's going to fill up your inbox with 5 conversations with serious artists every single day. Out of those conversations, you get 3 qualified artists on the phone who say they want to buy beats from you already, right? They fill out a form. You get an average of a minimum 1 sale a week for about $1,000. So you become an authority in your genre that commands $500 to $1,500 per package. You could charge more or less, whatever you want. It just depends on your income goals and what you're comfortable with. So like, if you don't believe me, you can literally just go to the site and look at all the testimonials. So like, Sean gets 2 calls a week, 6 artists in his inbox every day. Kellen made $1,000 a month with less than 200 followers. He had like 70 to 200 followers. Brandon gets $500 beat sales, 200 followers. I helped this producer sell a $1,500 package. He'd only worked with me for about 74 days, and he only had 261 followers, and we sold $2,000 in revenue. It was only 74 days working with me. And keep in mind, we started with just 40 followers. So we had to build the account up first. So I helped Teaser get a 20x improvement in less than 16 weeks working with me, so we got to $4,000 a month. You can go and scroll on and just see a lot of these transformations. And all of my students are doing this without having more than a handful of followers, as they don't have very many. They're without being a content influencer that's a slave to the algorithm and just posting all day and being a clown on social media and making TikToks. Spending years building YouTube that attracts browsers instead of buyers. I've seen this. I've worked with a lot of YouTubers that just are not making that much money. A lot of their views are just going down too. So it's not a market that might be expanding for them, at least. A lot of them, their market is actually dissipating. It's without becoming stuck in a commoditized market that competes based on cheap prices. So get into a market where artists are willing to spend $1,000 on their beats. It's easy. And spending out any money on ads or expensive software tools to set up. Like Zoom is the most expensive thing for me to sell beats. $15.99 a month. $15.99 a month. Calendly's free. Instagram's free. Spotify, maybe $10 a month if you have premium, but you don't even need that to use this strategy. So for $16, you can make thousands. So how can I help you specifically get to $1,000 a week? This is my method. I just help you align with the right expectations. So if we screw our mindset on right, that's what helps. Then you start sowing some seeds. We do a 30-day push to get your first sales call booked, so you know the strategy works. After that, we're going to give you some wisdom. So that's just skill sets. So we're going to perfect 4 skills that we talked about, and then you reap the reward. We're going to scale to our goal by tracking the data and predictably getting you to save 6 months of expenses and then transition out of your job. So quit cold turkey or just transition into a part-time job. It's very, very simple. So you have to have the right expectations though. So you have to keep in mind, this can't work if you're lazy, your beats are generic, you aren't willing to show your face, you aren't fluent in English. Like, it's just not going to work. So who I'm specifically looking for, because right now I'm only taking on 8 producers a month. And they have to have these qualities. You have to have at least 2 hours a day to work on this strategy. You have to believe your beats are worth 1,000 or more. You have to have 500 plus followers and a personal brand. And this is really the only thing where I have an exception for, because I help producers who have around 100, 200 followers. Like, I can build your account up, but you have to have a personal brand. You have to have unique beats and or play instruments. If you play instruments, this is a no-brainer. You're going to be able to make a lot of money. If you have unique beats, that's going to set you apart and you'll be able to charge a lot. And you have to hate your 9 to 5. You have to want to quit in the next 16 weeks. Like, if you don't want that, then just go and keep doing the 9 to 5 and being on YouTube and getting 100 views. Like, I don't really care. Like, you can do whatever you want. But if you hate your 9 to 5, why are you still staying there? Just let me help you to get to 1,000 a week and quit. So you can do this in 16 weeks or less. So really, the next step, I just want you to let me give you a free business audit at least. Like, even if you're kind of skeptical and you don't think the strategy works, like, I would show you if it'll work for your profile specifically, or at least like what you need to change. But if you want to hop on the strategy call, it's entirely free. You get to see if it's a good fit or not. So you can click the link in the description or the pinned comment, and you can book that free business audit, and I'll go through your socials. I'll ask you some questions and make sure it's a good fit before I even offer you it. And if it's not, then I'll at least give you some good direction and point you in the right way. So if that sounds good, go ahead and book a call with me. And remember, like, I'm looking for producers who have these qualities. Like if you don't have any time to work on it, if your beats suck, like please don't apply. But if you do have these qualities, then go ahead, go to the link in the description or the pinned comment, book the call, it's free, and I would love to talk with you and see if this is a good fit. So thanks for watching. Hope this was a help, and see you in the next video. Bye.